Ah! Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pop Culture Caravan. Join me, your host, Alexander Chalupe, with my co-host,
Joe.
Hey, it's Hutch. What is this, a fucking James Cameron movie?
Yes, it is.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got goosebumps from that intro. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh, now I'm feeling the excitement today, boys.
a little cinematic today.
Today we're going to be reviewing the movie Avatar: The Way of Water. Waited how many years for this movie? Like 10?
13.
Oh my
13.
dang.
Yeah, we waited 13 years for this movie.
But 13 years ago, right, like, we were all like 11, right, 10 or 11. It's been a while since we saw the first one.
I did not go to theaters for this. In fact, it wasn't until like several years after the movie was out, I finally got around to seeing the first one.
Dang, no wonder there's so much hate.
It just did not look appealing to me. At that age, I cared more about the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
Burn him.
Heresy.
So I didn't rewatch the first one before jumping to see this one. So to be honest, I was very confused at the beginning.
I don't know, I didn't rewatch the first one, but it was all kind of fresh in my memory because I can honestly say I have never really seen a movie like Avatar before. And I don't just mean like the impressive visuals or like I mean like the concept. Like it's just kind of a wild concept that I have never really seen another movie do.
The thing about Avatar 1, though, right? Yes, it's got this, like, impressive scope and massive world that we're introduced to, but the plot of the first one is very basic. It is basically Pocahontas meets, like, I don't know, like an environmental advocacy movie like Fern Gully.
Well, they definitely went more in depth with this one. I think that they gave us more things in there that kind of changed how different characters acted and whatnot, different stakes that they were all playing with there.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. I think the second one is a rehash of the first story. Think about it. It is an outsider, or a group of outsiders in this case, who have to, go into a new, unfamiliar tribe and adapt and, learn their ways before, at the end, fighting to defend said tribe and newfound home, until at last they are ultimately accepted by the tribe and, welcomed as part of the family.
I mean, yes, but there's different situations. Like the first movie, he chose to leave the humans because they were doing something wrong, right? He looked at it and he said, you guys are messed up. I've grown to love these people, so I'm going to abandon my species to save and do what I think is right. In this situation, he left his people. Not, it was very difficult for his family, right? They didn't want to, but he did it for the sake of protecting them, right? So it's kind of different motives, and I think that carries weight and kind of changes the story a little bit.
What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
This was something that the movie theater did. Open captions the entire time.
Really?
Yeah, and in 3D, they're in front of everything. Really harshed my movie viewing experience. I still was able to enjoy the movie, but it took a little something away from it.
Even so, how was your 3D experience? When the bullets are flying by, did you feel like they're gonna hit you?
No. I thought the subtitles might.
You weren't immersed enough, Joey.
Oh, god damn it! Son of a bitch, idea-stealing assholes! You sons of bitches! Dances with Smurfs was my idea! My idea!
So I'm going to start with the standout new character of Kiri. That's the girl played by Sigourney Weaver, who's like the reincarnate of, Grace from the first movie.
Was she a reincarnation? I mean, her voice sounded like her a lot.
I don't know. I mean, again, it's the same actress, so I think there's something to that. But then they also hint that there's something with, a potential father.
So essentially, she just has a better connection to the planet, but what makes her different from everybody else?
She is a half-breed Avatar baby, but no one knows how Grace's Avatar got pregnant.
I wish we had more time to explore that mystery.
My theory on Kiri is Immaculate Conception, because she had this intense bond with Yue, or whatever their god's name is. From all the time she's zoning out, she was totally like trancing into just like the heartbeat of the entire planet.
Yeah.
And then she was able to do like borderline magic with how she was able to manipulate the environment. So I think that they're going with an Immaculate Conception route, which gives a whole fun biblical parallel there.
If she's like the chosen one Anakin Skywalker of this, I'm fine with it. I think she's great as that role. I think there were too many children, and you can't give Jake enough time to have that fatherly connection with the amount of children he had.
Note on Jake's parenting, as soon as that attack starts and it does the year skip, his attitude's like different because he's acting way more like a Marine. Because that's what he was before.
Yeah.
But you see him cleaning his gun while he's talking to his mate. You know, you see him with his sons. He's kind of hard on them. He's kind of being like rough with them, like in the extent of high expectations, you know, and putting a lot of pressure on them. But it's because he is in total soldier mode because he's been fighting the humans again, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Took's entire character arc was just hostage victim over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Like that's it.
If I could have written two of the kids out of this movie, it would have been Took and Nateum, the oldest child, actually.
Really? I don't know about that.
No, he was the heartstrings, dude. Nateum served a purpose, in my opinion.
But literally, it's just a functional purpose to benefit other characters. Like, this character did not have an arc of his own other than, like, taking heat for the brother and then, like, you know, looking after him. That was all he did. It got to the point I even got confused during the movie because I thought, like, oh, Nateum is the one who's, like, falling in love with what's her name, and then the other one, Loak, is the one who has the relationship with the whale. It wasn't until halfway through I realized, oh, no, it's the same kid. Loak gets both arcs and Nateum gets jack shit.
Yeah.
You're right. I totally think he was a supporting character with developing Loak a lot. But I also think that they served as mirrors for the duality of Jake, right? Because Nateum, very much so a soldier, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what he was doing the entire time. He's like the perfect son. He's acting like the perfect soldier. He's taking heat because if one person screws up, they all screwed up, right? Kind of acting like a jarhead, right? Kind of like his dad. And then Loak is, you know, younger, much more passionate, a little bit more kind of easy to start and making bonds with whales and shit. And it's because he's kind of reflecting more of the Navi side of it.
The thing is, Loak is always this dumb dipshit kid who's always, you know, getting into trouble he shouldn't be. His dad tells him to stay put or stay behind. This kid goes off and does shit. That's what gets Nateum killed at the end, is they go off to, you know, do shit when Jake was like, no, stay there. Nateum gets killed, and then Loak, you know, he feels sorry and guilty, but what does he do immediately? His father tells him to stay there. His father goes back, and Loak just goes back and saves his father. I mean, yes, good thing he saved his father, but I think it undermines the lesson learned. Like, the kid just keeps disobeying orders. His stupid motherfucker just doesn't know how to listen.
That's very true. Although, my argument for Nateum is because I kind of relate with him. Having that little brother that does just kind of exist to get you in trouble.
I'm going to play Nateum's advocate over here. So you see a couple different things, right? So Nateum takes the heat for Loak like 2 times. And then Loak goes with, you know, the water chief's son. They ditch him. He almost dies. He makes friends with a whale. He comes back. And what does he do? He takes the heat for that. And he actually very much so establishes now a borderline friendship with the chief's son now. Like, they have mutual respect because he didn't throw him under the bus. It's almost like he learned something from his brother. And I think that him ignoring the lesson he should have learned from his brother and saving his dad, I think that I interpret that as a plot point of saying sometimes you have to disobey orders, right? Because that's kind of the only real thing you can kind of learn from that. But he kept disobeying, it kept causing issues, but then after this sacrifice, he then disobeys again, but nothing bad happened from the last time he did it. He just saved his dad.
Because he really was the one to get all the character arcs, besides like Jake himself. So it almost feels like he's being set up to be a future main protagonist.
Yo, hold up. There was one character from this movie who was missing for the majority of it, and I was really upset. Where the hell was Norm?
He was in the lab. He raised Spider. He was one of the people that raised Spider.
Like, he was in it for 2 scenes, one at the beginning and then one when he comes at the end to help when Kiri reacts to his seizure. I would have liked to just have more time with that character, because he's one of my favorite characters in this franchise.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the humans. Specifically, I want to talk about Quaritch, the villain, reincarnated after the first one. I really loved this twist. This was actually very interesting to me. Even if it's bullshit science, you know, who cares? It's Avatar, whatever. But like, oh yeah, all my memories on this chip and I inserted it into, like, you know, an Avatar body. So essentially, you know, my ghost could come back to haunt you and get its revenge. Like, I thought that was dope.
I think that's a really cool concept.
Dude, the pun in the beginning of the movie where he's like, I know what you're all thinking. Why so blue? I almost got up and left right there. I'm excited to see what is he going to do, right? I was expecting that as Spider taught him the way of the Navi, that he would kind of like, you know, Jake's route in the first movie, while learning it, start to become and you know, get engrossed into it and be like, oh, this is the bro.
Yeah.
He didn't really do that, but I'm wondering if maybe in the third film, like, he's going to make an appearance, but he's not going to be an enemy. He's got a little bit of motivation already, because now he's been reunited with his son, who is now cared enough about him to save him, but then afterwards kind of gave him the cold shoulder of like, hey, I saved your ass, but I want nothing to do with you, right? Like,
Yeah.
just cause I was there and I saw you, I felt like I had to save you, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't want this guilt on my conscience. F you for making me do this.
And maybe that will serve as motivation, because now he's like, okay, well, my son turned his back on me for these people. My corporal turned his back on me for these people. I mean, maybe that will be enough for him to kind of like start to get involved with it and, you know, kind of see what all the hype's about.
What did we think of the son character, by the way?
At first, I was kind of annoyed at his presence, but when I realized he was the son of the colonel, I was like, okay, I thought it was pretty cool. It was a pretty good story beat.
Can we talk about that son for a son scene for a sec? Because what the f***, Nateri? She took shit from 0 to 100 way f***ing quick. Also, how is that kid supposed to ever trust you again?
Yeah, she was actually gonna kill him.
The thing is, like, they kind of teed that up from the beginning where, like, they were all plagued and she was like, he should go back to his kind. It's like, dude, do you not know what your husband is? Like, did you forget about that? Like, when you kind of take a deep dive, like, it makes sense why she just, like, you know, slammed on the gas pedal with that, because this lady has left everything she's ever known with the outsider that she's made it to, with her weird freaky kids, right, with the extra pinkies and all, moves and is trying to be a part of the Sea Clan. Her kids keep fighting people or having seizures underwater, you know, they're not really fitting in, right? And then her son finally dies and everything's going to again, right? Like,
She does go through it in this movie, yeah.
Although, when she loses her that is the best action scene in the movie.
when Spider was hiding from her, I was like, yup, that's what you should be doing, man. Like,
Right?
she'll murder you.
She will murder you.
Just, nope, I'm out.
Just like the last Avatar, it's not really for laughs, but you know what was I found very comedic, which I know was not intended to be?
But,
Almost all of the fight scenes.
yeah.
Like, they were cool, they were badass, but like, you either see Na'vi people just brutalizing avatars and like the most gruesome, like, over-the-top kills, or they pick up a human and just like throw them. Like,
No, the action is more brutal in this movie. I give James Cameron props for that. He stepped up the brutality.
Especially with the one dude who got his arm sliced off.
All right, let's jump into the whales. What do we think of the whales?
The whales are cool as
there was so much whale lore.
Yeah.
I don't really give a why this whale's an outcast, okay?
Also, just like the added layer of lore of, oh, these whales are actually hyper intelligent apparently, but their brain fluid is also so valuable because it's de-aging serum essentially. Like, what?
Whales! My favorite part, like, I really had to like muffle my laughter, but when like the chieftain's wife's whale sister died, she's like, she was a composer of songs. Yeah, I'm not downloading that shit on Spotify, I'll tell you that.
I had to go back to the first movie because I wanted to compare the MacGuffins, right? The unobtainium versus the whale brain fluid. So the unobtainium, which is a dumb name, by the way.
Yep.
I'm still going to throw it out there. Very dumb name. Turns out, in the first movie, the reason they were after it is because it's like this alternative metal or like power source, right? Like conductor of energy. And I guess they exploited all the resources on Earth. So very much more of the environmentalist approach of, we used up all of our so we're going to take yours now. And here it's just, oh no, there's a magic super elixir brain fluid that we're all after.
It's a bit lazy.
Yeah,
Let's call it what it is. It's whale stem cells.
the whale stemmies.
It's even barely a MacGuffin. It shows up once and then it's not mentioned again for the rest of the movie.
It just gives the humans a reason to say, hey, the whales too.
No, honestly.
Okay, like, you really gotta make these people assholes. You just really gotta hammer it home. Like, you could at least have them do something with the body, but you had to hammer home the fact, nah, these people are just pieces of
Humans bad.
garbage. We want to make you feel guilty about being a human.
Jamal James Cameron, king of the world. Woman, I want to plug my tail, my braid into your dragon.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
And my tail.
Well, I guess I was hyped for this movie. Overall, I'm not disappointed. kind of met my expectations, visually surpassed them. The water was amazing. In terms of story, I would give it maybe like a 6 out of 10. In terms of visuals, goddamn straight 10.
And this was probably a big benefit for me, right? But I wasn't really like itching to go back to Pandora, right? Like I wasn't really. I heard the movie was coming out, I was like, oh, cool. And then I went and saw it. I was like, dope, and I was happy. So I'd say story-wise, I like the story. I thought they pulled at the heartstrings. There was a little too much whale stuff going on there. We got a little funky with the whales there. I'd say 7 out of 10 story. I'm not even going to rank the visuals because you can't argue with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to rank the visuals either. Obviously, they're phenomenal, better than ever. Like Joe said, yeah, I wasn't really like dying to get back into Pandora and explore this world again. It was nice too, but I wouldn't say it was necessarily worth the years of hype.
Yeah.
Overall, just like this, the story's pretty mediocre. It's got some highlights, but it's also got some stinkers. I think overall, I would give this movie narratively a 6.5 out of 10. And that is a hot take I'm standing by. Vin Diesel, family approved.
It's all about family. Overall, I'd say, yeah, it's a good watchable movie.
Well, this has been our review of Avatar 2, Two-Way to Water. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Smash that like button, you
Goodbye, everybody. Remember, water is the way.
You don't know the way.
Yes, I
Do you know the way?
I know the way.
You have to have Ebola to know the way.
I have Ebola.
It doesn't know the way.
To know the way,
To know the
you
way,
need to have
you have to know the
Ebola.
way.